The council chamber was filled with worried voices. Representatives from 20 different species sat around the massive circular table, their forms ranging from tall reptilian creatures to small floating beings made of pure light. The air smelled of fear and desperation. Kelvar, an old Korthan historian with dark green scales, stood up slowly. His body was bent with age and his claws clicked against the metal floor. The room fell silent as everyone turned to look at him. "There is something I must tell you," Kelvar said, his voice rough but clear. "An old story. A legend that my grandfather told me when I was young. Commander Silreth, a Valesh military leader whose blue skin shimmered under the lights, made a frustrated sound. We do not have time for stories, historian. The Dominion fleet destroyed 3 more colonies this week. We need solutions, not fairy tales." Kelvar's yellow eyes narrowed. "This is not just a story. 300 years ago, before any of you were born, the Council made first contact with a new species. They called themselves humans. They came from a yellow star system in a remote part of the galaxy. Some of the younger Council members looked interested. Others looked annoyed. The war was going badly, and they were losing planets every month. The Dominion Alliance, led by the insect-like Vrix and the crystal beings called Altheans, seemed unstoppable. "What happened to these humans?" asked Yuna, a young Korthan diplomat. Her green scales were still bright, not dulled by age like Kelvar's. Kelvar took a deep breath. "The first contact team brought diseases, terrible diseases that the humans had no defense against. According to our records, billions of them died. The survivors closed their borders and vanished. We assumed they went extinct or fell back into primitive ways. So they are dead," Silreth said flatly. "How does this help us?" "That is where the legend begins," Kelvar continued. "Before they disappeared, the humans showed remarkable abilities. They healed from wounds that would kill any other species. They could survive in environments that would destroy our strongest soldiers. They refused to give up even when defeat seemed certain. An Althean representative, whose body looked like living crystal, spoke with a voice like chiming bells. These are children's stories. No species has such abilities." Kelvar pulled out a small data device. "I have studied the old records carefully. The humans were different from anything we had ever seen. They evolved on a death world, you see. Their planet was full of predators, diseases, and natural disasters. They learned to survive anything." He pressed a button and holographic images appeared above the table. The council members saw pictures of a blue and green planet, images of creatures that walked on 2 legs with smooth skin and strange flat faces. They had no claws, no natural armor, no venom, Kelvar said, but they had something else. They had endurance, they had adaptability, and they had something the old reports called spite. They would rather die fighting than surrender. Minho, a military strategist from the water world of Velos, leaned forward. "Even if this is true, they are gone. What use is a legend? Maybe they are not gone," Kelvar said quietly. "The records show that their territory was placed under quarantine. The area around their star, which they called Sol, was marked as forbidden. No ship has entered that zone in 300 years. Silreth's eyes widened slightly. "The Sol quarantine zone, I have heard of it. My pilots report strange readings near that sector. Powerful energy signatures, advanced defensive systems." "Exactly," Kelvar said. "What if the humans did not die? What if they simply closed their doors and waited?" The council chamber erupted into arguments. Some thought it was impossible. Others called it desperate foolishness. But Silreth remained quiet, thinking hard. Finally, the Velish commander stood up. "We are losing this war. The Dominion has more ships, more soldiers, and more resources. In 6 months, maybe less, they will reach our core worlds. Our species will be enslaved or exterminated." The room fell silent again. Everyone knew Silreth was right. "If there is even a small chance that these humans exist," Silreth continued, "we must investigate. I volunteer to lead a scout team into the Sol quarantine zone." "That is madness," said one of the Vrix council members who had not yet joined the Dominion. "The automated defenses will destroy your ship." "Perhaps," Silreth agreed. "But if I can make contact, if these humans are real and as powerful as the legends say, they might be our only hope." The council voted. It was close, but Silreth got permission to make the journey. The commander chose a small fast ship and a crew of only 5. They would travel to the edge of the galaxy, to the place where humans supposedly lived. As Silreth prepared to leave, Kelvar approached with more data files. "Read these during your journey. They contain everything we know about humans. Their culture, their history, their nature, will it help? Silreth asked. Kelvar's ancient face showed something that might have been worry. I do not know. The reports paint a strange picture. Humans could be kind and gentle, building beautiful art and music, but when threatened, they became something else. Something terrifying. One old report called them persistence predators. They would chase their prey for days without stopping until it collapsed from exhaustion. That sounds like a horror story, Silreth said. Yes, Kelvar agreed, but here's the interesting part. They felt guilt. They felt compassion. They would fight wars, then help rebuild their enemies. They loved their families and their tribes with fierce loyalty, but they also dreamed of peace and unity. Silreth loaded the files into the ship's computer. Contradictions. No, Kelvar said softly. Complexity. Humans were complex. That is what made them dangerous. And that is what might make them allies. The old historian placed a clawed hand on Silreth's shoulder. If you find them, be honest. Tell them we are sorry for what happened. Tell them we need help. And, Commander? Yes, be careful. If the legends are even half true, you will be meeting the most dangerous species the galaxy has ever known. Dangerous not because they are monsters, but because they are survivors. And survivors do whatever it takes to protect their own. Silreth nodded and walked toward the ship. The journey would take weeks, traveling through empty space to a forbidden zone. The commander did not know if humans were real or just myths. But the galaxy was dying, and myths were all they had left. As the ship lifted off, Kelvar watched from the landing bay. He whispered a prayer in his ancient language, asking the universe for mercy. Because if humans were real, and if they were as powerful as the stories claimed, the galaxy was about to change forever. The war had pushed the Council to the edge of extinction. But perhaps, just perhaps, the ghosts of the past would rise to save the future. The scout ship moved slowly through empty space. Silreth sat in the command chair, watching the screens carefully. They had been traveling for 3 weeks, and now the Sol system was close. Very close, Commander, said Do-hyun, the ship's sensor officer. I am detecting something. Many things, actually. Thousands of objects in orbit around the outer planets. Silreth leaned forward. Show me. The main screen lit up with data. Tiny dots covered the display, forming a massive sphere around the inner solar system. Each dot represented a satellite or weapons platform. Those are defensive stations, whispered Bora, the navigator. Advanced ones. The technology is far beyond our current standards. Can we go around them? Silreth asked. Do-hyun shook his head. They cover everything. There is no gap. And Commander, they are already tracking us. We have been scanned at least 50 times in the last minute. Silreth made a decision. Send a message on all frequencies. Tell them we come in peace. Tell them the Galactic Council seeks contact. They waited. Seconds turned into minutes. Nothing happened. Then everything happened at once. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. A massive vessel appeared on their screens, seemingly materializing from nowhere. It was huge, 3 times larger than their scout ship, with smooth metal surfaces and weapons bristling from every angle. Where did that come from? Bora shouted. It was cloaked, Do-hyun said, his voice shaking. Perfect stealth technology. I could not detect it at all. A voice suddenly filled the ship's bridge. It spoke in a language they did not understand, but the translation software quickly worked on it. The voice was calm but firm. Unknown vessel, you have entered protected space. Identify yourself immediately or we will consider you hostile. Silreth activated the communication system. This is Commander Silreth of the Velesh Republic, representing the Galactic Council. We seek peaceful contact with the species called humans. We mean no harm. There was a pause. Then the voice spoke again. Stand by. Do not move your ship or activate weapons. A boarding party will arrive shortly. Boarding party? Bora looked terrified. Commander, should we run? Silreth saw the weapons on the human ship powering up. No, we came here for answers. We will wait. 20 minutes later, a small shuttle approached their ship. It docked smoothly, and Silreth went to the airlock with 2 crew members. They were unarmed, their hands visible. The airlock opened and humans stepped through. Silreth had seen the old pictures, but seeing them in person was different. They were tall but not giant. They had smooth skin in varying shades of brown and tan. Their eyes were strange, with white around the colored parts. No claws, no scales, no natural armor. They looked fragile, but the way they moved was not fragile. They walked with confidence and control. Their weapons, held professionally but not aimed, looked deadly and well-maintained. The leader stepped forward. He wore a dark blue uniform with symbols that Silrith did not recognize. His face was young, but his eyes looked tired. "I am Fleet Captain Jiho of the United Humanity Space Force," he said through a small translation device. "This is my tactical officer, Lieutenant Hana. You have 60 seconds to explain why we should not escort you out of our system." Silrith spoke quickly. "The galaxy is at war. The Dominion Alliance is conquering everything. Billions have died. Entire species have been enslaved. We are losing and we are desperate. We found old records about your people. We came hoping you might help us." Jiho's expression did not change. "And why would we help the Galactic Council? 300 years ago, your people brought death to our world. Billions of humans died because of your carelessness. We remember." "I know," Silrith said quietly. "I have read the reports. It was a terrible tragedy, but the people who made that mistake are long dead. We are facing extinction now. Not just the Council, but hundreds of innocent species." Hana, the tactical officer, spoke for the first time. Her voice was sharp and cold. "Not our problem. You left us to die centuries ago. Now you want our help?" "Yes," Silrith said simply. "I cannot change the past. I can only ask for the future. If you have children, do you want them to live in a galaxy ruled by the Dominion? They enslave whole species. They destroy cultures. They show no mercy." Jiho and Hana exchanged looks. They seemed to communicate without words. "Come with us," Jiho finally said. "You and 2 crew members. We will take you to our command ship. You can present your case to our superiors." The human ship, called the Indomitable, was incredible inside. Everything was clean and efficient. The crew moved with discipline. Silrith saw humans of different sizes and colors all working together smoothly. They entered a large room filled with screens and holographic displays. Other human officers stood at various stations monitoring everything. Jiho brought up images on the main display. "We have been watching," he said. "We never stopped monitoring the galaxy. We know about the war. We know about the Dominion." "Then you know how bad it is," Silrith said. "We do," Hana replied. "But knowing and caring are different things. Why should humans die for a galaxy that abandoned us?" Silrith had no good answer. "Because it is right? Because we are asking? Because staying hidden will not keep you safe forever." "Explain that last part," Jiho said sharply. Silrith pulled out a datapad. "The Dominion is not stupid. They have scientists studying old records. They know about the Sol quarantine. If they conquer the rest of the galaxy, they will come here eventually. Better to fight them now with allies than face them alone later." Jiho studied the data carefully. "This will not be my decision alone. I must bring this to Earth, to our leaders. It will take time." "Time is something we do not have much of," Silrith said desperately. "Every day the Dominion grows stronger." "I understand," Jiho said. "But we will not make this choice hastily. Too much depends on it." He turned to his crew. "Prepare quarters for our guests. They will stay with us during the journey to Earth." Over the next few days, Silrith learned about humanity. The crew was cautious but not cruel. They shared their food, which was strange but not bad. They showed Silrith their training exercises. That was when Silrith truly understood the legends. Silrith watched human Marines practice combat. They moved fast, impossibly fast. They hit hard and did not stop. Even when exhausted, they kept going. Their instructor, a woman named Isolde, pushed them harder and harder. "Again," Isolde shouted. "The enemy will not give you rest. Fight through the pain. Fight through the fear." The Marines responded with fierce determination. Silrith saw why the old reports called humans dangerous. They did not know when to quit. Hana found Silrith watching. "Impressive, are they not?" "Terrifying," Silrith admitted. "Are all humans like this?" "Most of us," Hana said. "We grew up on stories of the plague years. We learned that the universe is not kind. We learned to be harder than the challenges we face. Do you hate us?" Silrith asked quietly. "For what happened?" Hana was silent for a long moment. "Some do, some cannot forgive. But others, like me, understand that holding grudges forever helps no one. I do not hate you personally, Commander. But I do not trust the Council. Trust must be earned." As Earth came into view, beautiful and blue, Silrith felt both hope and fear. Hope that humanity might save them. Fear of what humanity might become if they joined the war. The legend spoke of warriors who never surrendered, who fought with everything they had. The galaxy was about to meet humans again. and this time it would be on humanity's terms. The United Earth Council chamber was different from the Galactic Council. Instead of a circular table, it had rows of seats rising up like a theater. Representatives from every nation and colony sat waiting. The room was tense with anticipation. Silreth stood at the center, feeling small under the eyes of thousands of humans watching through screens. Jiho and Hana stood nearby, ready to support the presentation. "Let me be clear," said Admiral Kwan, an older man with gray hair and hard eyes. "You want us to send our people to die in a war that is not ours. A war created by a galaxy that left us to suffer alone." Silreth met his gaze. "Yes, I know how it sounds. But this is bigger than old wounds. The Dominion is conquering everything. If they win, no one will be safe. Not even Earth. We have defenses," Kwan said coldly. "We have been preparing for 300 years. Let them come. We will be ready." "You do not understand," Silreth insisted. "The Dominion has conquered 200 star systems. They have millions of ships, billions of soldiers. Your defenses are impressive, but can you hold against an entire galaxy?" A younger woman stood up. She wore a white coat with scientific symbols. "I am Dr. Suman. I study alien species. Commander Silreth is right. The Dominion does not stop. They are like locusts, consuming everything in their path. If we hide, they will eventually find us. And by then there will be no allies left to help us." Kwan slammed his hand on the desk. "We do not need allies. We need to protect our own people. Every human who remembers the plague years knows we cannot trust the galaxy." The room erupted into arguments. Some agreed with Kwan. Others sided with Suman. Voices rose and fell, mixing together into chaos. Then a young officer stood up. He was tall and thin with a serious face. His uniform showed he was a lieutenant. "May I speak?" he asked quietly. The room slowly fell silent. The young man walked to the center, standing next to Silreth. "My name is Lieutenant Taiyang. I serve on border patrol in the outer colonies. 3 months ago, we detected a Dominion scout ship near our territory. It was damaged and drifting. We investigated." He pulled up holographic images. They showed a destroyed ship and alien bodies. We found logs. The Dominion had been testing our defenses. They were studying the Sol quarantine, trying to find weaknesses. But something stopped them before they could finish their mission. "What stopped them?" someone asked. Taeyang's face became grim. "We did. A stealth patrol intercepted them and destroyed their ship. But here is what troubles me. The log showed they had been watching us for months. They know we are here. They know we are advanced. And they are planning." He turned to face the council. "I lost my family during the plague. My grandparents, my aunt, and my little cousin. They died because the Galactic Council was careless. I hate that. I will always hate that. But I hate the Dominion more." Taeyang activated another display. "This is footage from the Dominion's conquered worlds. Watch." The images were horrible. Cities burning. People being herded into camps. Children crying. The council members watched in silence, their faces reflecting shock and disgust. "The Dominion does not just conquer," Taeyang said quietly. "They erase. They take everything that makes a species unique and destroy it. Their slaves exist only to serve. If we let them win, we are saying that all those people do not matter, that their suffering means nothing." He looked at Kwan. "Admiral, you taught me that soldiers protect the weak. You said that strength without compassion is just cruelty. Were you lying?" Kwan's face showed pain. "That is not fair." "Nothing is fair," Taeyang replied. "The plague was not fair. The war is not fair. But we have a choice. We can hide behind our walls and hope they never come, or we can fight while there are still others to fight with us." Dr. Suman stood again. "I have analyzed the data Lieutenant Taeyang provided. The Dominion is studying our defenses carefully. They are patient. If they conquer the rest of the galaxy, they will have unlimited resources to throw at us. Fighting them now with allies gives us better odds." "And what does Commander Silreth offer us in return for our help?" asked another council member, a woman named Jiwan who represented the Mars colonies. Silreth spoke carefully. "The council can offer technology sharing, access to rare resources, trade agreements, and most importantly, friendship. I know that word means little after what happened, but some of us still believe in peace and cooperation." "Pretty words," Kwan said, "but words do not bring back the dead." "No," Jiho said, speaking for the first time. "Nothing brings back the dead. But we can honor them by being better than those who hurt us. We can choose to help others so they do not suffer like we did." Hana added. I have studied the Dominion's tactics. They are brutal but predictable. They rely on overwhelming force and fear. But they have never fought an enemy like us. We can hit them in ways they cannot imagine. We can teach the Council's forces to do the same. We can turn this war around. The Council debated for hours. Arguments flew back and forth. Some wanted revenge on the Galactic Council. Others wanted to help the innocent species being conquered. Many were simply scared of what joining the war would mean. Finally, the vote was called. The room fell completely silent as the results were tallied. The decision passed by a narrow margin. Earth would intervene, but not as servants of the Council. They would fight as equals with full control over their forces and strategies. Quan stood up slowly. I voted against this, but the decision has been made. If we are going to war, we will do it properly. Admiral Jiho, you are promoted to Fleet Admiral. You will command the First Contact Fleet. Your mission is to show the galaxy what humanity can do. Jiho saluted. Yes, sir. I will not let you down. Quan's expression softened slightly. I know you will not. Just bring our people home safe when you can. Over the next few weeks, Earth prepared for war. Shipyards worked day and night building new vessels. Marines trained harder than ever. Scientists developed new weapons and tactics. Hana was appointed as chief strategist. She studied every battle record from the war, looking for patterns and weaknesses. Major Isul, the Marine instructor Silreth had watched during training, was given command of all ground forces. Her reputation for toughness and skill was legendary among human soldiers. Silreth watched the preparations with growing amazement. The humans moved with purpose and efficiency. There was no waste, no hesitation. They had made their choice and now they committed to it completely. Are all humans like this? Silreth asked Jiho one day. So focused and determined? Jiho smiled slightly. Only when it matters. We can be lazy and silly when times are good. But when times are hard, we remember who we are. We are survivors, we endure, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Even those who hurt you in the past. Especially those, Jiho said. Forgiveness is hard. But it is also strength. Anyone can hate. It takes courage to move past hate and choose something better. The First Contact Fleet prepared to launch. 50 warships, each carrying the best technology Earth could produce. Thousands of Marines, pilots, and crew members. All volunteers who wanted to make a difference. As the fleet gathered in orbit, Silreth stood on the bridge of Jiho's flagship. Earth floated below them, beautiful and alive. Thank you, Silreth said quietly, for giving us a chance. Jiho looked at the blue planet. Do not thank us yet. The hard part is just beginning. But we will face it together. That is the human way. We do not abandon our friends even when the fight seems impossible. The fleet activated their faster-than-light drives. As they jumped away from Earth heading toward the war, Silreth felt hope for the first time in months. The legends had been true. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. The planet Kelthera was burning. Smoke rose from a dozen cities while Dominion warships circled above like predators. Commander Silreth stood on the bridge of a damaged council ship, watching their last defenses crumble. Sir, the Western Front has collapsed, reported a junior officer. The Vrix ground forces have broken through our lines. Civilian evacuation ships are trapped. Silreth felt tired, so tired. They had been fighting for 6 hours, and the Dominion seemed endless. For every ship they destroyed, 3 more appeared. The insect-like Vrix attacked in swarms, and the crystalline Althean vessels shattered anything they hit with their energy weapons. How long until the evacuation is complete? Silreth asked. At least 2 more hours. But sir, we do not have 2 hours. The flagship is reporting critical damage. They recommend we surrender. No, Silreth said firmly. We hold. Even if we die, we give those civilians every second we can. An explosion rocked the ship. Alarms screamed. Part of the hull had been breached. Then something changed. The communications officer suddenly sat up straight, listening to her headset. Her eyes went wide. Commander! New contacts emerging from faster-than-light travel. Multiple ships. They are not Dominion. Silreth rushed to the sensor station. The screen showed dozens of new signatures appearing at the edge of the battle. No, not dozens, hundreds. Who are they? Silreth demanded. Before anyone could answer, every screen in the fleet lit up with the same message. A human face appeared, strong and calm. It was Admiral Jiho. This is Admiral Jiho of the United Humanity Space Force, his voice echoed across open channels. We were once only a myth. Today we stand with the free peoples of this galaxy. Dominion forces, you have one chance. Withdraw immediately or be removed. Silreth's crew stared in shock. The humans had come. The Dominion responded with laughter over the communication channels. A Vrix commander, its insect voice clicking and harsh, sent a reply. Primitive species. You dare threaten the Dominion? We will crush you like all the others. Your choice, Jiho said simply. Then the human fleet attacked. What happened next changed warfare forever. Human ships did not fight like other species. They did not line up for broadside exchanges. They did not follow predictable patterns. They moved like hunting animals, fast and deadly. Gravity weapons fired from human warships, creating fields of compressed space. Vrix vessels built for swarm tactics suddenly crumpled like paper. Their hulls collapsed inward, metal screaming as physics itself turned against them. The Althean crystalline dreadnoughts tried to respond with their energy weapons, but human ships released electromagnetic pulse missiles. The pulses disrupted the crystal matrices that powered Althean technology. Beautiful crystalline ships went dark and drifted helpless. Target their command ships. Hana's voice came through the tactical network. She was coordinating the entire human fleet from her station. Disrupt their communications. Make them blind. Human fighters, small and agile, swarmed through the battle. They moved in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully planned. Dominion point defense systems could not track them. Major Isul led the marine assault. Human boarding craft attached to Dominion flagships like parasites. Marines cut through hulls with plasma torches and poured inside. The Vrix had never faced enemies like this. In close combat, humans were terrifying. They wore powered armor that made them strong and fast. They used weapons that fired metal slugs at incredible speeds, but worse than their technology was their attitude. Humans did not stop. A Vrix soldier could wound a human and think the fight was over, only to have that same human get back up and keep coming. They fought through pain and fear with mechanical determination. Isol's voice crackled over the marine network. Push forward. Show them what happens when they threaten innocent people. No mercy for those who show no mercy. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, a Vrix admiral watched his fleet fall apart. This was impossible. The fleet had conquered 50 worlds. They had destroyed species that had fought for centuries. How could these humans who appeared from nowhere be winning? Deploy reserve forces, the admiral ordered. All ships focus fire on the human flagship. 50 Dominion vessels turned their weapons toward Jiho's ship. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between them. But the human flagship did not try to dodge. Instead, it activated something the Dominion had never seen. A shield appeared around the ship, but not a normal energy shield. This one seemed to redirect attacks, sending them off at angles. Most weapons missed entirely. The few that hit did minimal damage. What is that? The Vrix admiral demanded. His science officer looked terrified. They are manipulating gravitational fields, sir. Creating pockets of curved space. It is technology beyond our understanding. Jiho's ship fired back. A single shot from its main weapon hit the Dominion flagship's command tower. The structure exploded, and the ship began to spin out of control. All Dominion vessels, this is Admiral Jiho. Your command ship is disabled. You are cut off from reinforcements. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly under the rules of war. Continue fighting and we will destroy every single one of your ships. The remaining Dominion commanders looked at their tactical displays. In 6 hours, the humans had destroyed or disabled 60% of their fleet. Human casualties were minimal. This was not a battle. It was a demonstration. One by one, Dominion ships powered down their weapons and stopped moving. The battle was over. Silreth stood on the bridge, unable to speak. Around the planet, human ships moved into formation, protecting the evacuation vessels and establishing a perimeter. Medical ships arrived to help the wounded. Everything was organized and efficient. Jiho's face appeared on Silreth's screen again. Commander Silreth, are you injured? No, Silreth managed to say. We are intact. Admiral, what you did here today, I have never seen anything like it. Jiho's expression was serious. We did what was necessary. How are the civilians? Evacuating now. Thanks to you, they will all make it. Good. That is what matters. Jiho paused. Commander, I am sending damage control teams to help repair your ships. We are also leaving a defensive force here in case the Dominion tries to retaliate. Over the next hours, Silrith watched humans work. They were professional and kind to the Council forces, helping repair ships and treating wounded soldiers from both sides with equal care. But Silrith also saw the Dominion prisoners. They were kept secure but unharmed. Human guards were firm but not cruel. This confused the Vrix and Althean captives, who expected torture or execution. "Why do you not kill us?" one Vrix soldier asked a human guard. The guard, a young man named Hyun, replied calmly, "Because we are not monsters. You followed orders. You fought for your people. We understand that. This war is not personal. We do not enjoy killing. We just will not allow cruelty and conquest to win." Major Isul walked through the damaged sections of Kelthera City with her Marines. They helped dig survivors from rubble. They shared medical supplies. They treated everyone with respect. A young Korthan child, her green scales dirty from the smoke, ran up to Isul. "Are you angels?" "My mother said angels would come save us." Isul knelt down to the child's level. Her armor made her look giant and intimidating, but her voice was gentle. "No, little one. We are just people who wanted to help. Are you hurt?" The child shook her head. Isul gave her a meal pack and smiled. "Stay safe, okay? The bad people are gone now." News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. The Dominion had been defeated at Kelthera in a single day. The humans, who were supposed to be myths or extinct, had appeared with technology and tactics that changed everything. On the Council homeworld, celebrations erupted. For the first time in years, there was hope. But in the Dominion capital, there was fear. The leaders realized they faced a new threat. Humanity was not like the species they had conquered before. Humans were something different, something dangerous. As Jiho's fleet prepared to move to the next battle, Hana studied tactical reports. "This will not end quickly," she told Jiho. "We won today, but the Dominion will adapt. They will learn from this." "Then we adapt faster," Jiho replied. "We show them that every time they try something new, we are already 3 steps ahead. That is the human advantage. We learn, we improvise, we never stop." Silrith looked out at the human fleet and felt something unfamiliar. Not just hope, confidence. With humanity in the war, they might actually win. The Galactic Council chambers had never been so crowded. Representatives from every free species pressed close, eager to witness history. Reporters from hundreds of worlds pointed cameras at the center of the room where Silrith stood beside Dr. Suman, who now served as Earth's ambassador. 1 month had passed since Kelthara. In that time, humanity had fought in 12 major battles across 7 sectors. Every battle ended the same way: human victory. The war was not over, but the tide had clearly turned. The Dominion, which had seemed unstoppable for years, was now retreating. Their forces pulled back to defend core territories. Their leaders argued among themselves, divided on how to handle this new threat. Meanwhile, human tactics and technology spread to Council forces. Human advisors taught new strategies. Human engineers shared defensive technologies. Entire fleets were being reorganized based on human recommendations. Today, the Council would vote on humanity's formal membership. More than that, they would vote on giving humans leadership of all military operations. Kelvar, the old Korthan historian, rose slowly to speak. His scales seemed brighter now, as if hope had restored some of his youth. "Members of the Council," he began, his voice strong. "1 year ago I told you about a legend, a myth, a species that supposedly vanished into history. Today we know the truth. Humans are very real, and they have proven themselves worthy allies." He gestured toward Suman. "But before we vote, we must address the past. 300 years ago, the Council made a terrible mistake. Our first contact team brought diseases to Earth. Billions of humans died. We never apologized. We never made amends. We simply moved on, assuming humanity would fade away." The chamber fell silent. Many Council members looked uncomfortable. Kelvar continued. "Today I propose we do what should have been done centuries ago. I propose a formal apology to humanity for the suffering we caused. Not because they demand it, but because it is right." Yuna, the younger Korthan diplomat, stood. "I second this proposal. We cannot build a future on an unhealed past." The vote was unanimous. The Council formally apologized to humanity for the plague and the 300 years of isolation that followed. Suman accepted gracefully. "We appreciate the apology. Many humans felt abandoned and hurt. But we also understand that dwelling on the past helps no one. We would rather focus on building something better together. Then came the more controversial proposals. Suman walked to the center podium and her voice carried across the chamber. Earth agrees to join the Galactic Council and lead military operations against the Dominion. However, we have conditions. Murmurs filled the room. Some council members looked offended. Others seemed curious. First, Suman said firmly, war crimes tribunals. All sides, including council members, must be investigated for violations of ethical conduct. No one is above justice. If we fight for freedom and peace, we must hold ourselves to the highest standards. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. There had been incidents during the war that no one wanted examined closely. Second, a new council charter. No species shall ever be quarantined or isolated without clear cause and regular review. No species shall be forgotten or abandoned. If we claim to represent all peoples, then we must actually represent all peoples. More murmurs, but these were thoughtful. Many species remembered feeling ignored by the council before the war. Third, Suman continued, humanity will fight, but not as your servants or as conquerors. We fight as equals. Our voice must be heard equally in all decisions, and when this war ends, we expect the council to prioritize peace and cooperation, not power and control. A Vrix delegate who had defected from the Dominion stood. And if the council refuses these conditions? Suman met his gaze calmly. Then humanity will continue to help defend innocent species, but we will not formally join the council. We will remain independent allies. The choice is yours. The debate lasted for hours. Some delegates argued that humanity was being too demanding. Others pointed out that humanity could dictate any terms they wanted, and the council would have no choice but to accept. Finally, Silreth stood to speak. I was the one who found humanity. I was the one who asked for their help. I have fought beside them for a month and I have learned who they are. The commander looked around the chamber. Humans could have refused us. They had every reason to let us suffer for what we did to them. But they chose to help anyway, not because we deserved it, but because innocent people were dying. Silreth paused. They could have conquered us easily. Their technology and tactics are superior, but they share their knowledge freely. They treat everyone with respect, even defeated enemies. They risk their lives to protect species they have never met before. The Velish commander's voice grew passionate. We are not voting on whether to grant humans power. We are voting on whether to accept the partnership they offer. And if we refuse, we are fools who deserve whatever fate awaits us. The vote was called. When the results came in, the chamber erupted in cheers. The proposal passed with an overwhelming majority. Humanity was now a full member of the Galactic Council, with Admiral Jiho appointed as Supreme Commander of all military forces. On the human flagship, Jiho received the news with mixed feelings. He stood in his office with Hana and Major Isol. This is a huge responsibility, he said quietly. Millions of lives depend on our decisions. Hana nodded. Yes, but we knew that when we agreed to come. The question is, can we win this war? We can, Isol said confidently. The Dominion is strong, but they rely on fear and overwhelming force. They cannot adapt the way we can. Every battle teaches us more about them. Eventually, we will know how to dismantle their entire empire. Jiho looked at star maps on his wall. It will not be quick or easy. There will be losses. But I believe we can bring peace to this galaxy. Over the following weeks, the reorganized military launched coordinated strikes across multiple fronts. Human advisors worked with every species, teaching them new tactics. The results were dramatic. Council forces that had been losing for years suddenly started winning battles. But humans did not just fight. They also negotiated. When Dominion worlds wanted to surrender, humans ensured they were treated fairly. They helped establish refugee camps for displaced populations. They mediated disputes between allied species. Tae Yang, the young lieutenant who had spoken at Earth's council, now commanded a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels. His crew learned to work together, combining human innovation with alien strengths. After a successful mission liberating a mining colony, Tae Yang addressed his combined crew. Today we fought well. Humans, Velish, Korthan, and Althean defectors working as one team. This is what the galaxy should be. Not divided by species, but united by common values. On Earth, people watched the war news with pride and concern. Their sons and daughters were fighting far from home, making a difference in a galaxy that had once abandoned them. Quan, the admiral who had voted against joining the war, visited a military hospital. He spoke with wounded soldiers, thanking them for their service. One young Marine, missing an arm but smiling, said, "We are doing good work out there, sir. Saving people. Making a difference. It is worth it," Quan nodded slowly. Perhaps he had been wrong. Perhaps some causes were worth fighting for. In the Dominion capital, leaders met in secret. Their empire was shrinking. Their forces were demoralized. The humans had changed everything. "We must negotiate," one leader said. "We cannot win this war." But others refused. "We are the Dominion." "We do not surrender to primitives." The war would continue. But everyone knew the outcome was no longer in doubt. On the human flagship, Jiho stood looking at a hologram of Earth. So far from home, fighting for people he had never met, trying to build a better galaxy. Hana joined him. "Any regrets?" "Many," Jiho admitted. "Every soldier we lose is a person with family and dreams. But no regrets about being here. We were isolated for 300 years, hiding and afraid. Now we stand among the stars again, making a real difference." "We were once only a myth," Hana said quietly. Jiho smiled. "And now we are real. The galaxy will never forget us again, not as conquerors or legends, but as friends and allies, as people who chose to help even when we did not have to." Below them, Earth turned in space, beautiful, blue, home. And around that home, a new galaxy was being born. A galaxy where humanity helped write the rules, where cooperation mattered more than conquest. Where every species had a voice, the war was not over. Challenges remained. But for the first time in years, the galaxy looked toward the future with hope instead of fear. Humanity had stepped onto the battlefield. And everything had changed.